Morning, man. Good day, everybody. It's the 6th day over here in 2025, man. Let's talk a little bit about goals and dreams. When I mean goals and dreams, like career goals. A lot of times when we're going through school, especially once we hit high school, it's always a talk about what do you plan to do after high school? A lot of people say college, military, I don't know, maybe just go into the working field, just work. But the thing about it is, how many people actually pursue their dreams when they get out of high school? And it can be numerous reasons why folks don't pursue their dreams. Like myself, going through high school, I always said I want to be an engineer because, my mom would tell me, your uncle is an engineer. He said you graduate, you go to college, he can help you get through the whole program. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do okay. But then as I do research, and then I had a friend of mine that came over here from Africa, and he was pursuing a mechanical engineering degree. And he would tell me, it's hard work, a lot of math. And I knew I wasn't good at math. I knew I wasn't good in school. So I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be for me. So fast forward, I graduate, done with school. Hey, what's next? I'll just have a high school diploma. So I started working. Got hired at FedEx. They opened a warehouse here in my area. Hired on the spot. Boom. Nailed it. It was part-time, but still, it was just right out of high school, so it was good enough. So as I'm working, doing my thing, like I said, I always had good work ethic. I was never lazy. When I was at home, I used to, keep my chores done, my room clean, wash the cars, cut the grass. That was just every week thing for me. So as I was working in a warehouse, at age 19 years old, grinding, listening to my peers telling me how to do my job and how to do it better. I was always that type of person. When you talking to me, I take constructive criticism. I don't get mad at that. I take it and I listen and I become better. So there was a big wig that came to visit our facility from corporate, higher up. And he would come to the area where I was at, and he would see that I was basically doing my thing. I was basically running the area by myself as a lead because my supervisor at the time was out on leave. He was hurt. So you see I was doing my thing, pulled me to the side, asked me, hey, young fella, let me ask you a question. What's your name? Told him my name. And he said, you ever thought about becoming a manager? And I'm like, manager? I'm 19 years old. I'm just working, just trying to figure this thing out. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no high school. I just have a high school diploma, no college. And so he was like, you don't have to answer now. Go home, talk to your family. And he said, I'll be here until the end of the week. Give me an answer. He said, man, we'll fly you up to Pittsburgh with a corporate office. We'll train you and everything, get you prepared. And I just send you out here and, let you struggle and fail. But he said, you can make really good money. You can do 20 years, retire with a pension and everything. So I'm thinking, it sounds so good because that's also my family always talked about. Getting a job, working there 20, 30 years, get your pension, retire, live the American dream. So I'm like, oh man, yes. So then I thought about like, man, I have no credentials. I got no college degree. I just turned 19. I just got a high school diploma. This man talking about going to corporate, and I'm like, right. So I never got back with him. As you know, he was already gone. He flew back home to the corporate office. So I'm doing my thing, working this and that. And then I needed more money. So I applied for full time. I didn't get it. So here it is. Fast forward, I started when I was 18. Fast forward, turned 21. And I'm like, man, I want to make more money. And I was talking to one of the coworkers, and the guy was like, well, why don't you go over to the side over there where the drivers are? Go be a driver, man. I heard they making, good money over there. So I'm like, oh man, I wonder what does it take? You need CDL or something? Like, nah, man. Those are non-CDL box trucks and cargo vans and stuff. They're non-CDL. You just have to go through, I think, background check, urine test, and get your chauffeur license at the time, and go through their school, and they'll pay for you. I'm like, what? So I looked into it. So I went to the HR lady. Hey, HR lady, I was telling her, what's my plans. And she was like, all right, well, it's good. You're gonna make good money. But she said, one thing I'm gonna tell you is, when you go over there, you won't get benefits. You won't get no 401k. You won't get health insurance. It's up to them to give you paid time off. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's FedEx. Look at the truck says FedEx. They're wearing FedEx uniform. She said, yeah, they're an entity for FedEx. They own their routes. That is their route. They have their own business name, but they wear the FedEx clothing, and the FedEx logo is on the truck. But they are contractors. They get a 1099 at the end of the year, which is self-employed. They don't get a W-2. When they take time off, they don't get paid. They do their own insurance, they do their own taxes, all that stuff. They are an entity, they're self-employed. So when you go over there, you're either a contractor, you buy a route, or you're a subcontractor, meaning subcontractor, you work for a contractor. So I'm like, ooh. So I thought about it, I was like, man, I met with a couple guys over there. They told me their drivers were making at the time, like I said, this was back in 2003. Their drivers were making between $500 and $700 a week. So I'm like, man, that's good money. It's way more than what I'm making now. So I'm like, okay. So I still want to transition. Fill out the paperwork, do what I had to do. Put me in the class, pass the class, boom. Now, once I get done, I meet with the transportation supervisor, and he's like, hey, Bradford, what's your goals? You plan on being a contractor, or you working for somebody? And I'm like, I don't got no money. I'm planning to work for somebody. He said, okay, well, good. I have somebody in mind. They already have a driver, but he's getting ready to leave, and he's going over to the line haul division, which the line haul division was the ones that drove the tractor trailers, driving from state to state. So I'm like, all right. So introduced me to the guy. The guy introduced me to the owner, which the owner, he was in Afghanistan or whatnot at the time. His wife was running the business. So we sat down, we talked about numbers. So she agreed to pay me $550 a week. I went through training, I said about 3 weeks. And then the guy that was running, the driver, he went back to line haul, and I took over. So I'm running, making my little $550 a week. I'm doing pretty good, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I really don't have no bills. Living with my grandma, she's charging me $200 a month. I had a car note for $360, car insurance for like $150 or something like that, and a cell phone like $30. So I'm good, Still got money in my pocket. So that's a fast forward. They run for that entity for 2 years. The guy comes back, and I meet him, and he was getting his head straight, because he was gone for 2 years to Afghanistan, seeing all that stuff going through the war. So eventually, when he came back to work, we sat down, we talked, and the area that I was running was growing. And so he was like, JB, that's what he called me, JB. My plan is to get a Sprinter van and take more residential and commercial packages from you, and I'm going to come out here and I'm going to run every day. But he said, my plan is down the line, I'm going to have to buy another truck, another stealth van. And what I want to do is I want to split the business in half, because he's like, I don't want to have multiple routes. I just want one route. We'll do my one route and go home. I don't want multiple routes. It's just multiple headache, more responsibility. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, so my ideal is I'll buy another truck, I'll split it in half, and I'll sell you a portion. He said, don't worry about trying to come up with the money. He said, you can make payments. He said, but I'll sell you the portion because he said, this area is going to be booming in the future. Few years, it's going to be booming. So I'm like, okay. All right, okay. So as I'm working this and that, and then eventually my mom was like, look, you need to make more money. And I'm like, all right. She's like, you need to make more money. And like I said, I was enjoying, doing the deliveries, wake up, 6, 7 in the morning, really didn't have no set time to come to work. It was all about, as long as you come to work, you do your deliveries, we had pickups, make sure you made your pickups on time, they didn't bother you. So it's basically you was, basically it's like self-employed. Even though you work for this guy, he didn't hound you about coming to work. I knew what time my pickup start, and that's what he said, he didn't care. So I used to get to work, 7, 8 in the morning, go through my load, put it in order, look at my pickups, see what pickups I have. I already knew my regular pickups I had on a daily basis, but you also get those call-in pickups, random. So look, okay, boom, all right, let's go, boom. So I was knocking it out and everything. So like I said, having back in my mind, my mom telling me, you need to make more money. You got to make more money. You can't just be stagnant, just working for this guy. He ain't gonna want to give you no raise. You don't got no benefits, no 401k, none of that. So she told me, she was like, there's a company called Cisco that's hiring. They're hiring for warehouse. And they're paying, at the time it was $12.60 an hour or whatnot. So you need to go look into that. So all right, I put in my application. Boom, I got a call back, and so I'm supposed to start orientation. So then I put my 2-week notice in with the current guy I'm delivering. So he pulled me to the side. He's like, yo, JB, what's going on, man? I told you. He's like, man, I told you I'm gonna buy another truck. And I'm gonna split it with you. It's gonna be your business. I'm gonna have mine. He's like, man, you just gotta be patient with me. And I was like, nah, man, I just gotta go, man. I gotta make more money now, man. I don't have time. He's like, you sure? Yeah. So there was a guy that transferred from Miami, came up here. I trained him to run the route. Boom. All right, he's trained. Boom, sayonara, I'm out of here. Started Cisco inside the warehouse. Order selecting. Started at 5:30 p.m. till done in the morning. We worked sometimes 12, 13 hours, depending on how busy we were. So of course, all the new hires, they put on the dry side. Dry area, it's, of course, during the summer, it's hot as heck, but you don't have to worry about dealing with being in a cooler or the freezer, freezing your butt off, trying to select orders. Like I say, you rolled a electric pallet jack with 3 pallets. That's how they selected the orders. You had a ring scanner to tell you where to pull, and you got to pull fast. You got and they were strict. They only give you 2 weeks to pull 100%, or they're on your butt. So after the first week, I pulled 70%. I was killing. I was getting the hang of it. Next thing you know, that next week, they put all new hires inside the office, and was like, hey, things have changed. I was like, whoa, what has changed? They, we're gonna put all you guys in the freezer. We need help in the freezer. So of course in the freezer you get, I think it was $1, $2 more or whatnot. But it's cold as heck. And being in that freezer, selecting the order for like 300, you inside that freezer for a good amount of minute before you even come out and go to the cold dock to drop off your pallets. That lasted a week. I ended up quitting on a dime like that. Boom. So I quit, called FedEx. That's one thing I knew about FedEx. You can always go back. So there's always a contractor looking for a driver. Boom, I went back. So I called my buddy's friend, and I say, man, I need a job, dog, because he's like, Joe, what happened to Cisco? Like, dude, nah, man, that ain't what it is. So he called his boy. He's like, yeah, I'm looking for a driver. He was what I call a swing driver. He covered vacations, if you out sick. He was a swing contractor, meaning he owned that contract. So he would do other contractors' routes, but he made a little more money because he was a swing driver. So he got off the truck, hired me to do swing. for him. So he trained me a little bit, but majority of the time he just threw me out there to the wolves. Back then we didn't have GPS back then. We pull out the map book, you look up the streets, you made copies. So there's some days I went out with 6 pages of the map put together and I'm highlighting my stops. If you didn't know how to read a map back then, you would not survive. So I worked for him for a minute. And like I said, he was a good family friend. And one thing about working for family or family friends, it don't go well. So I worked for him a couple months. And it didn't go well because the one week I was supposed to do downtown. And everybody know how, wherever you live, downtown is always congested. One-way streets, a lot of foot traffic, tall buildings. If you don't know where you're going, it could be a nightmare. So I go to work, going through the truck. I'm familiar with the streets, but I don't know where I'm going. So I don't got no dolly, none of that. So I call him, hey man, it's 8 o'clock, man. Everything downtown open about 9:30, man. You coming to work? Oh, I got something to come up. Go ahead and start the route and I'll meet you. I was like, well, I don't got no dolly. Yeah, I gotta go pick up one. So, cause I had 30 computer monitors that was going downtown to like I think it was the 20th floor. So I needed a dolly. So he's like, I'll meet you. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, dude, I don't know where I'm going. He trying to give me directions. So I start the route. Okay. I just start. Okay, boom, I pull, boom, okay, so I'm going. So boom, next thing you know, I'm calling him, he don't answer. I did I think about 10 stops. Next stop was that big bulk stop, 30 monitors. So, excuse me. So I'm like, calling, he ain't answer. So I get to the place, go up. Hey, I'm here. Oh, you here? Oh, we've been waiting for you. The only problem that I have, I don't have a dollar. They didn't give me a dollar. What? All right, no problem. So luckily, they had a small little flatbed. So scan, load. I think I did about maybe 10 trips, but I finally got it. So now I'm delivering. I'm getting lost. I'm wasting so much time. Next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock, right? I had another big boat delivery. I get there, they didn't have no dolly none. So I'm taking these in about three at a time by hand. I wasted so much time that before you know it, everything downtown closed. He never called me back. So I brought back about 40 stops that didn't get delivered because I didn't have the right equipment. So he got in big trouble. So to the point where they made him sell his business. So when I knew you had to sell his business because he was already messing up throughout the whole entire year, I put my name out there. Hey man, if anybody looking for a driver, I'm looking for a contractor. So immediately, boom, one of the contractors talked to, always seen him, never really talked to him, always seen him. He told me looking for a driver, talked numbers. Boom, I started working for him, I started driving for him. Eventually, 2 years later, he grew his business, had to get extra trucks. We got extra drivers. So eventually we had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 7 drivers, including me. I got off the truck and I was what we call the BC, the business contact. I ran his business because he lived 4 hours away. So I was here in town. I ran the business. His sons, they were here in town. They was older, like in their 40s, but they didn't have nothing to do with the business. So I would call them only in emergencies. Other than that, I ran the business myself. So, like I said, I'm only making $600-700 a week. That's it. From 2003 to 2016. And then within that gap in 2006, that's when I went to Cisco for 3 weeks. But then when I came back, like I said, In 2007, 2008, made no more than 700 from there all the way to 2016 when I quit again FedEx for the final time and came over to where I'm at in food service. So what made me get into food service is I knew I needed to find something to do. Something to do. Like I said, I didn't have much skill. All I did was drive box trucks all my life. Box trucks or warehouse. That's the only skill I had. So one day I was leaving work and I seen the food service truck, the trailer. I seen them. I'm like, oh man, it said, it had their website on the back. So boom, put it in the website, boom. I seen they were hiring, now where I'm at in Florida for a driver helper. And I'm like, what's a driver helper? Click on it. It's like, okay, driver helper, help, two-wheel hand truck, put on a hand truck no more than 250 pounds, help the driver unload a 48-foot trailer, doing multiple stops and this and that. So put in my application. A month later, got a phone call. Called lady back because I missed it, talked to her. She gave me the whole description. She say, as a driver helper, you don't go too far. It's just a lot of local. You do different stops at different restaurants. She told me the restaurants that they did at the time. And you basically do everything the driver does. You unload the trucks, you open the stores, you do paperwork, but you just don't drive. Y'all unload together. And so I was like, so is it hourly pay? She's like, as a driver helper, you get paid 55% of what the route make. So I'm like, okay. So I started doing some calculations, and he's like, you get paid by the weight in the miles, and like I said, it all ends up to 55%. So I'm like, all right, okay, all right. So she's like, let me say, what do you think? I was like, yes, I'll take it out, So came in, did the paperwork, did my job offer, did the orientation, and then they told me, the average helper makes around $650 a week. It was a pay cut because before I left FedEx, I was making $975, and I was up in age. I was in my mid-30s, so the transportation manager was kind of skeptical because he knew I was taking a pay cut, huge pay cut. He didn't want me to come over and take a huge pay cut, being at the job is very physically demanding, working overnight, and then I quit. And I told him, I said, no, I'm very ambitious about this change. I said, because what motivated me is when the HR lady told me that if I do, all I gotta do is 6 months, and then I find me a school, and you guys will refund me up to $3,000 from getting my CDL. And he's like, yes, that is correct. So I was like, all right. So I stuck it out, started. Like I said, I worked. I see how the extra board was. I got kind of like scared because, they were running the extra board hard. Them guys were killing. They were making money. I was talking to some of the drivers. Some of the drivers making over $2,000 a week, and they were killing it. But I'm like, ugh. When I started the job, it was very hard, man. My forearms, I'm like, I don't know. Came home to my wife, I don't know about this work. Then working overnight. So my wife was like, well, only thing you're gonna have to do is go back to FedEx. And I didn't want to go back to FedEx for the third time. I already know I wasn't gonna make no money. So I stuck it out. I stuck it out for 2.5 years as a helper. And we had lost a concept, but then we was getting that concept back after a couple years. So here it is. I've been a helper. It was 2.5 years. We're getting ready to get that concept back. And the VP pulled me in the office and said, hey, Bradford, I'm gonna need for you to get your license, your CDL. That way, when we get that concept and we do route bids, you will be eligible to get your route. I'm like, all right. So talked to a couple other drivers, and they kept asking me all the time because, like I said, at this time I got hang of the job. So I was pretty decent. And guys like, hey man, when you getting your license? I'm like, dude, I've been looking everywhere. Every trucking company, trucking school, $7-10 grand. I don't got that. I'm a helper. You know what I'm saying? I'm late in the game. And one guy told me, he said, no. He said, I know a place. It's 45 minutes away, but it's only 1,700. I said, how long is the course? He said, it's up to you. He said, you can go in one day, take the test, and you get the license. I was like, nah, it can't be legit. So I talked to the transportation director, and I was like, does it have to be a big name school? He's like, no. He said, as of right now, he's like, they're not saying it has to be a big name school. As long as you can, is accredited and you get your license, it doesn't matter. I was like, okay. So I told the guy, the driver, hey, give me the information. He gave me the information. Boom, called the guy. The guy told me the same thing. I was like, what? He's like, it's up to you. So I took off a week. Went there for a week. Did a few maneuvers. He gave me the pamphlet to study for the pre-trip. Very intense. I'm sweating so when it's time for me to take tests, I'm nervous. I'm stuttering as I'm calling out parts and this and that. And the instructor told me, he said, hold up. Take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. He said, Duke, I know, I see it in your face. I see it in you're very nervous. Take a deep breath. So I'm like, all right. He said, start over. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, I passed the pre-trip. I did the road test, passed that. He said, congratulations. Got my license, took it to the director. He signed off on everything. That next paycheck, I got my money back, $1,781. Good to go. Now, boom, that Sunday, that next week, I'm on the extra board. So I look at the schedule. I don't see my name on the schedule at all. I'm like, oh, man, I'm on call, man. I'm on call all week. And I call so he said, hey, Bradford, relax. Pump your brakes, man. We got you. We ain't gonna leave you out there hanging. I was like, man, come on now. I said, I was a helper. I had consistent work. He said, pump your brakes. I was like, all right. Boom, next thing you know, 5 hours later, I get a phone call. Hey, you wanna work? Like, yeah. I got a route. It's going out in 3 hours. Like, all right, no problem. I'll be there. From that day on, boom, I never had any problem about getting any work on the extra board. I was on extra board for 1 whole month. I made $10,000. The most I ever made in my whole entire life. Was able to pay all my bills. Was able to save money. And I'm like, wow, this is life changing. All right, now remind you now, this is not what I always wanted to do in my life. I wanted to do law enforcement. But this was like, man, 10 grand in 1 month? Whew. What? Man. I don't know about them career goals. Yeah, my career goal, I was getting into law enforcement, you know, because that was something I was always interested in. I mean, watch TV shows, you know, do a lot of research. I've done plenty of ride-alongs with officers to see how their day is, how they do things, how things go out there, or do they just drive around, eat donuts all day? Like, in that law enforcement world, it's a lot going on out there. It's a lot. It's different than what the media and everything, what you see on TV. So, man, being the fool, so I'm like, man, I don't know, I'm gonna have to give up my career dreams, man, just to stick out. I mean, this money. And then that next month, I was able to get me a route. Like the GM, the VP told me. We did bids, and I was up there in rank. I was able to get me a route. I'm like, what? I got me a set route, set schedule, making $1,200, $1,300 a week. Never seen that kind of money. Able to pay my bills on time and ahead. What? Date night every Wednesday with my wife. Friday and Saturday we eating out every Friday and Saturday. Like, what? Man. I don't know if I want to get in law enforcement. They ain't making no money. Like, So I'm driving, you know, a year and a half in. A buddy of mine hit me up. That's now he's a police sergeant at one of the agencies. Hey man, how everything going? I see you working over at food service, man. How you like it? I said, oh man, it's a little rough, man. But man, dude, dog, I mean, the money's great. But he's like, how you like the job? Like, nah, I don't really like it. That's not what I want to do. But dude, the money, dog. I mean, oh shit, last year I made 82. Never seen that kind of money. I was like, how's over there in law enforcement work? He's like, hey man, shoot. He's like, man, I'm moving up. That's what I'm telling him, I'm moving up. You know, he went to from a patrolman to a recruiter. Now he took he's a supervisor, and he's like, man, hey, never too late, man. You know, never too late. We're doing sponsorship. We'll pay for you to go. Not only pay for you to go to the academy, but we'll pay you a salary while you in there. You know, it ain't gonna be $100 grand like you making now at 82 or whatnot, but you know, but there's opportunities. He said, hey man, you let me know. It's never too late. So I'm like, all right, okay, boom. So I'm like, okay. Like I said, I'm still out there grinding, man. I'm like, I'm making all this money, and I'm trying to steer my mind out of not wanting to do law enforcement. Just keep my mind on that this is it. This is where I end at. Nowhere else. But then I'm like, man, if I'm gonna work overnight and stuff like that, man, sacrifice, I wanna do something I always wanted to do and enjoy and try out, man. And I'm like, man, law enforcement is where it's at. And I'm like, man, like, nah, I'm good, man. And then, like I said, the worst thing you can ever do, man, is tell someone about your dreams, your goals, because haters would knock it down, make you feel like you're doing something wrong, and then if it get in your head, you forget all about it. So that's what I did. Told an OG that was at the food service company for, at the time he was there for, he had been there 13 years. I told him about it. And like I said, he used to, you know, after driving a couple years, he would throw it up in my face when we was around in the office with other drivers. Oh yeah, man, look at this guy. Here it is. A couple years later, he's still here, man. I tried to tell him, man, his dreams is not where it is. He gonna quit here and go somewhere and make less money, and they're gonna be right back here. Then when you start back here, he gonna be at the very bottom. Sometimes you just gotta give up your dreams. That's what he used to say. I was like, man, this guy, man. So, like I said, I've been driving, going on 6 years, and within the 6 years I've been driving, my buddy has hit me up twice. He hit me up, we talked earlier last year. Same thing, hey man, it's not too late, you know what I'm saying? He's like, I've been here in the department so far 13 years. He said, I plan to do another 7, and then I'm gonna go to another department where I'm working, you know, at the airport or something like that, and then, you know, I'm gonna retire. He said, I'm gonna retire this agency, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna retire, you know. But I'm like, man. So I would come home, you know what I'm saying? We're doing good, this and that. We're living good and whatnot, living our rich life. And so 3 years in the game as driving, like I said, we wasn't really saving much money. We maybe had about $5 grand saved. My wife gets sick. She finds a lump in her breast. Go to the doctor, they do a biopsy, come by, it's cancerous. Give her all the options she can do. You can go in and just remove that lump, or you can remove that one breast, or you can do both breasts. So they gave you different factors, different risks, this and that. So she came with the, you know, agreement that she wanted to remove both breasts. She wanted to try to get it all out the system. Gone, both breasts. And they was like, well, we can put implants. Silicone implants. So she tried that, but her body was rejecting it. So they go in and remove those, and they had to take tissue, like fatty tissue from like around her stomach and all that to make breasts. Like I said, 3 years in the making, man. Me driving, we doing good, but never thought in a million years that this would happen, where we deplete our savings, go to struggling. People on the outside, not families, you know, just friends, the ones that was helping out. And when I mean friends, I'm talking about her co-workers. She runs a cheer organization. They put up a GoFundMe to help us out with medical bills and just bills and everything. You know, we never asked for any help. So and I'm like, man, like I say, you never think something drastic like that's gonna happen. You just think, hey man, God has given us this money to make. I'm making more money. We're living good, eating good, man. We good. Bill come in the mail, boom, you pay it, boom, no problem. Never thought about, getting 6 to 12 months of savings put away. Cause we all healthy, we good. But when that happened, savings went depleted. Wife couldn't work. Everything was on me. So that 90 to 105 I was making, it was like going like this. Like we just end up being struggling, struggling because by then we had already increased our lifestyle, bought cars, bought a daughter car, financed cell phones, all that stuff, I'm like, man, I'm over here, and once we got the money for the GoFundMe, we was able to get out of, we were back on top. Like, okay, good. She already had surgery, she had recovered, so she back to work. All right, boom, boom. Next thing going, boom, having another issue. Now she had to go back to her surgery. Now she's out another 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, now remind you, the whole family is on her health insurance. So with her being out for 6 weeks, she was getting short term, but short term, majority of that whole check was going to health insurance. So she wasn't really getting no check. It was $0.00. Everything back on me again. Now this time, car notes are getting behind, and now we were trying to save and we didn't save. Still didn't learn from the first time. Now here it is, 2025. Like I said, she just had another surgery back in November. It's 2025. Now it's like sick and tired of being broke, living paycheck to paycheck. When you're making the money, the crazy thing about it is, when you're broke, you learn how to survive. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay. But it's like when you got the money, you're making the money. Okay, what nobody say, 100 grand is not no money. That's more than anything that most people have. When you're making the money and you still broke, that is nobody's problem, no one's issue but yours. It ain't the system, it ain't the president, the governor, nobody. It's nobody's problem but yours, because you're not doing right by the money. God allow you to upscale your life by making this type of money, and what you do with it, you blow it up. You blow it, trying to live like you better than everybody, trying to live like you up here. No, you stay down at the bottom. One thing young man told me, and he was a young man, before he quit the food service game and got his own trucking company. Now he got a couple companies and he's off the truck. One thing he told me before he left, he said, Bradford, see you got your license? He say, live like you still making that $700 a week. He said, just because you see your money increase, live like you still making that $700 a week. And I never did. And now to this day, as I'm, on looking, some YouTube videos, follow a lot of your subscribers, and all I hear everybody preach is live below your means. Just because you are making 100, 120, or you got a household 150, whatever, you live below your means. Our household was $175,000 a year and had shit to show for it, zero. Because we're trying to live like everybody else, trying to impress everybody. Your friends call, hey man, we going out to eat. We going over here. We going to an expensive restaurant. All right, okay, we come. Let's go. No. You have to learn to say, nah, I'm good. Especially when you have dreams. Now here it is. Like I said, I've had dreams of, like I said, getting into that law enforcement, criminal justice field. But you can't. If I was to go and take a pay cut now, because I would take a pay cut for the time being, because I've done a lot of research. I've talked to a lot of people that's in that career and whatnot. People would tell you, oh, they don't make no money. It's not, no. You gotta do your research. You can't listen to people that ain't never been in that space or in that career. You can't listen to what people say. People will steer you the wrong way. People will tell you, oh, they don't make no money, this and that. No, you gotta do your research. And with me doing the research, it's like, I can't make that transition now because I didn't do the right thing. Didn't pay off debt. Didn't save money. Didn't put myself in that position where if I want to take a leap and go do that, law enforcement, or start my own business, lawn care, whatever it is, I can't, because you know what? I didn't do the necessary steps to make sure that me and my family is good. That's the one thing you got to think about. It eats me up every day how I just blew so much money in my 20s, my 30s. Here it is starting my 40s. You know? So, that's the thing. You know? I just don't understand. You know, it's just, it's rough. You know, it's one of them things that you just, you don't, you have to make sure that you have your finances in order, regardless of whatever job you do in life. If it's your dream job, your dream side hustle, whatever, you got to make sure that your finances are in order. Because if you start something and you fail, you have nothing to fall back onto, now you got to go back to that job where you're making 6 figures. You know, it's bad, man. You know, so don't let your friends, family tell you what to do with your life. If it's something out there, a job or a business or anything that you want to do, learn to do your research. Take that leap. Faith, have that faith, man. Faith without works is dead. Take that leap. Don't listen to what people say, man. Because when and stop telling people. I realize, I used to tell people all the time, man, maybe when I was in FedEx, man, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. I can't wait to get out of here. I used to call my brother, man, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. And I stayed there. And the next thing of 3, 4, 5, 6 years, it took for the guy that I was working with, it took for him to sell the business for me to leave. So I realized, same thing here, where I'm at now. Realize, man, you can't tell folks what your plan is. Keep your plan to yourself. Pray about it. Write it down at home. Look at it. Manifest it. Work towards it. Because you can't just read it every time and talk about it to yourself if you're not working towards it. So if it's a business you got to start with. If you know you need $5,000 to start up, and if you ain't put nothing to the side so you can start that business, you ain't going to get nowhere. Same thing. If there's a trade or something you want to get into and you need to do some studying. If you don't start studying, how you expect to move on? So, like I say, when it comes to your career goals, don't give up on them, because later down the line, you're going to wish that you would have stuck with it. Do not give up on it. And don't tell nobody, just make them moves. And once you make them moves and you strive, people are like, man, wow, I didn't see that coming. Of course you didn't see it coming, because you know what? I didn't tell nobody. I just did it myself. Like I said, like, subscribe, got some comments. And so let me know. Are you in your dream job, or your dream, are you doing your dream business? Hey, y'all take it easy, man.